Welcome back everybody to some familiar territory along the CSX W&A and Etowah subdivisions as we take a look at a recap of everything that I had seen throughout the month of September and into early October of 2023. Our first outing would be on Monday, September 4th, 2023, as we'd be set up at Wyvern Yard for northbound unit coal empties E738, coming out of Calera, Alabama and heading back to Corbin, Kentucky.
E738 02 north, CSX 3425 Avenue.
Unfortunately, E738 would be the only road movement we would see all day. The only other movement we would see the rest of the day would be local switcher Y122 switching the steel mill lead off of the Industrial Park Spur, which branches off of the Etowah sub just south of Wyvern. 122 would have CSX T6914 leading, which was the very popular so-called chesty-nosed unit. The backstory on this locomotive was that it was sent out on L810 and then was tied down in Cedartown, Georgia overnight, and when the crew came back the next morning, the chassis system symbol as well as its colors were painted on the whole nose of the locomotive. And still to this day, no one knows who did it. However, since this recording, this locomotive has since been sent back to Waycross for repairs as it was damaged in the Cartersville area as it had been sideswiped by something, which most likely means it'll also be repainted before being sent back out for service. Once Y122 passed, that would be it for us on this day, but we'd be back out just a couple days later. Flash forward 5 days and we're back out on the evening of Saturday, September 9th, 2023 in downtown Marietta, Georgia, as we knew of 4 trains that were in the area, and just after sunset at 8:21 p.m. our first train would arrive, being M583, out of Wyvern Yard in Nashville, Tennessee, heading south for Atlanta before taking the northeastern turn onto the Abbeville sub to head for Hamlet, North Carolina. Just 8 minutes after M583 had passed, the crossings would activate again for train number 2, this one being northbound manifest M542, coming out of Rice Yard and Waycross, heading back to Queensgate Yard in Cincinnati, Ohio. 542 would be meeting its southbound counterpart, M541, at Control Point Day, which is about 5 miles north of downtown Marietta. So just over 30 minutes after 542 had passed through here, M541 would show up heading southbound for Atlanta and eventually Rice Yard and Waycross. Right behind M541 will be our last train for the night, being southbound unit coal loads C799, coming out of Corbin, Kentucky, heading down to Yulee, Florida for the First Coast Railroad. Coming down the CC and the KD subs, this C799 had CSX L&N Heritage Unit number 1850 leading, but unfortunately the locomotive was taken off in Etowah, Tennessee for an L&N Historical Society convention that was happening the next weekend. But even without the Heritage Unit leading, these coal trains are always nice to see, as they don't run as often as the other coal trains that I see out here on the W&A, and they always have the CSX Company coal hoppers, which are my favorite. Exactly 3 weeks later, we're back out on the evening of September 30th as we find ourselves in downtown Cartersville, set up for northbound Autorac's M202 as it heads north through downtown, bound for Chattanooga and eventually Wyvern Yard in Louisville, Kentucky. Just minutes after M202 cleared Jenna, coming off of the Etowah sub would be southbound manifest M541 after working North Yard, now blasting off heading south towards Atlanta. The sun is now fully set, as we're set up at the north end of Emerson, waiting on late night manifest M582 coming up from Atlanta. And at 9:42 p.m., the crossings will activate for him as he comes through here at track speed, passing by a tied down empty coal train as it wakes up the small North Georgia town. Once M582 passed us here at North Emerson, that would be it for us for the night, but we'd be back out just a couple weeks later. We're now back out on the Sunday morning of October 15th, 2023 in downtown Adairsville, Georgia, as we wait on northbound Autorac's M202, which would have quite the engine lash up. Even though the lead motor would be a Gevo, the trailing motor is what would make it so special. That motor would be CSX W&A, which is their one and only Operation Lifesaver unit, and this would be the first time that I would get to see it.
I have a clear on North Martin Marietta. CXT 3154 north on the main, M202, 13 out.
We would then move on into Cartersville, where we would find an oddball empty rock train, symboled B483, coming off of the Cartersville subdivision, then turning south to the W&A/K&A-Y at Junna, to turn right back north up the Etowah sub, to head for its final destination of Corbin, Kentucky. So we would set up on the Porter Street overpass on the Etowah sub side to catch him coming around this almost 180-degree turn. Right after the engines pass under the bridge, I would head back to the car and race north for Wyvern, as I thought I had enough time to set up, but oh boy was I wrong. And in just the blink of an eye, B483 is gone and off to the races north. Just over 2 hours later, we'd be set up at the north end of Emerson as we heard of an M515 coming down from the north. And as the train comes up the shallow but steady grade into Emerson, both head-end locomotives would be using every bit of power to pull this 10,000 plus foot train over the grade. now set up in Ackworth for our last train of the day, and this one will be another special one as its lead motor would be CSX W&A, which is the Chesapeake and Ohio, or C&O, Heritage Unit. And this would be the first Heritage Unit that I would see since CSX started the project back in early May. On this day, 1869 would be leading northbound manifest M648 out of Rice Yard in Waycross, Georgia, up to Clearing Yard just outside of Chicago, Illinois. Catching 1869 and 4568 is what I like to call a 2-for-1 day. But that's my recap of everything that I had seen along the W&A and Etowah subdivisions during September and into October of 2023. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. But until next time, this is Georgia Rail Production saying so long from Ackworth, Georgia along the CSX W&A subdivision.